Hi, this is Prashant Bachu. Now I want to explain the assignment 8, which is the continuation of assignment 7. Now I want to explain the code of keys. This code imports function from a module called PK helpers for generating private and public keys for a public key infrastructure. First, it generates a private key using the function generate private key from the important module with the argument specifying the file name and a secret password for the private key. Next, it generates a public key using the function generate public key from the important module. The imported module. It takes the previously generated private key as the first argument and the additional arguments specifying details such as file name to the public key, country, state, locality, organization, host name, and password. The public key will be generated and saved to the specified file location with the provided details. And I want to run this code. Yeah, run the code. Next, I want to explain the key server code. This code imports two functions from the PK helpers module generate CSR and the generate private key for generating a certificate signing request and a private key for the server. Firstly, it generates private key for the server using generate private key function from the imported module. It takes the argument specifying the file name and the password for the private key. Next, it generates a CSR for the server using the generate CSR function from the imported module. It takes the previously generated private key as the first argument and the additional argument specifying details such as file name for the CSR, country, state, locality, organization, alternative names, host name, and password. The CSR will be generated and saved to the specified file location with the provided details. The CSR can be used to request a digital certificate from the certificate authority to secure the server communication over the internet. And next, I want to run the code. Next, I want to explain the operation. This code imports various functions and modules from the cryptography library and the PK helpers module for signing a certificate signing request using the certificate authority. Firstly, you want to read the content of the CSR and load it to the load_pem CSR function from the X509 module of the cryptography type. It also loads the CA public key and private key from the respective file using load_pem X509 certificate and load_pem private key functions respectively. The user is promoted to enter a password for the CS private key, which is then used to load the private key. Finally, we want to sign CSR function from the imported module is called taking the CSR. CS public key and private key file name for the signed certificate as arguments. This function will sign the CSR with the CA private key and save the signed certificate to the specified file location. The certificate can then be used to secure the server's communication over the internet. Run the code. Next, we want to explain the PK helpers code. Firstly, this code generates a public private key pair, creates a certificate signing request with the public key and signs the CSR with the self signed certificate authority. The generate private key function generates a new private RSA key with 204 bit size and encrypts with the passphrase. This private key is saved in a file specified by file name argument. The generate public key function uses the private key generated by generate private key function to generate a public key and self-signed certificate. The certificate includes information about the organization name, country, state, locality, and host name. The public key is saved in a file specified by file name argument. The generate CSR function creates a certificate signing request using the private key generated by generate private key function. The CSR includes the same information as the self-signed certificate generated by generate public key function and the alternate DNS name specified in a alternate names argument. The CSR is saved in a file specified by file name argument. Finally, the signed CSR function signs a CSR with the private key of the self-signed CA certificate and generates a new certificate with the signed CSR. The new certificate is saved in the file name by new file argument. Next, we want to run the code. Next, we want to explain the web web secure server code. In this code, we want to set up a secure server that can listen to the incoming client connections using TLS and SSL encryption. The socket module is used to create a socket and bind it to the specific host and a port. A SSL context is then created using SSL. Context which specifies the protocol to use and loads a certificate and private key file for the server. The statement is used to create a wrapped socket object that is bound to SSL context. The wrapped socket is created by calling context wrap socket. In passing the socket object in the server side is true. And the statement also accepts incoming client connections using accept double socket. And you in sends a message to the client using connections. And finally, the wrap socket is closed by using the closed double socket. Next, we want to run the Wireshark of which is the code of this. The code, and then my server is ready to use. My code is run. Then we want to go to Wireshark TLS. In the TLS, Wireshark packets is run. My sockets will be there TLS. And then this is my code of the assignment 8.